A man hovers above a Dragon Lord's stronghold, recognized as Duke Edward Ray Crystalia. Leonis ponders why the man is present, having supposedly perished in battle with the Voids. Vera questions how he controlled her mind, as no ordinary human could manage a Dark Lord's power. The man uses an Eighth Order spell, but the Dragon Lord's inherent resistance causes it to only stall her. Leonis confronts Duke Crystalia and learns he was recorded as a casualty, prompting suspicion. Rivai's Deep Sea arrives and challenges Duke Crystalia to battle. A massive cyclone destroys part of the stronghold, causing Duke Crystalia to use cracks in space to summon voids. As he disappears, Leonis identifies him as Azra-Aiel, the devil of the underworld. The world shatters into fractured glass. Roselia and Leonis sailed on a foggy lake as birds chirped nearby. Roselia, in a white dress, shyly asked for a reward. Leonis, teasingly, questioned her decency as a noble's daughter. Yet he was oddly forward, and it made Roselia's heart race. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about Leo's behavior. As they make their way to the natural park, Roselia asks for the body double's name, but he refuses to tell her. Shary, the real identity of the body double, then orders Roselia to run 5 laps around the park while wearing weights made from her own shadow. She protests, but is whipped into running. Meanwhile, at the park, Sakuya is training with a wooden sword, being careful not to disobey academy rules. Sakuya can't shake the image of her older sister Setsura's cold, sagacious eyes from her mind. She had returned from the dead after supposedly dying in the Sakura Orchid's destruction. Setsura has summoned a Void Lord to destroy her homeland, and now Sakuya can't imagine defeating her. To add to her troubles, she hasn't been able to use the gift of time given to her by a mysterious man without effect, which she needs to beat Setsura. Meanwhile, Reginald and her team prepare for the upcoming Holy Sword Dance Festival. This year's festival will take place at the 8th Assault Garden and will require the teams to find core flags placed around the area while facing off against other squads. Roselia has been pushing herself to the limit during training, and Leonis is struggling to develop his skills. Chatre Ray Oltrees, one of Elysian Academy's representatives and third princess of the Empire, is considered the strongest holy swordswoman among all students. All they can do is wait and see what the tournament brings. In the Empire's capital, amidst the vast gardens surrounding the palace, Princess Chatre spots her uncle's rumoured lover, Clauvia Fillet. Meanwhile, the younger brother of the Emperor receives a report of a possible Dark Lord approaching the capital. Chatre, busy with preparations for the upcoming Holy Sword Dance Festival, also thinks about her supposed younger sister and deals with media attention. But when her younger sister brings up the boy from Roselia's platoon, Chatre assures her that she won't fight seriously against a child. Leonis wakes up in a barren wasteland after being transported to another dimension when the Azure Hold was moved. He decides his best bet is to find Azra-Aiel, who he believes is moving with the fortress. However, he encounters a monstrous void and its swarm. He begins to cast a spell, but Rivai's Deep Sea appears and cuts the void down with a water blade. Leonis questions her about being under mind control, to which she confirms and expresses her anger at losing her pride. Rivai has been awoken from her 1,000-year slumber and freed from the mind control of the human who stole her Leviathan. With the help of Undead King, who may or may not have been instrumental in her liberation, Rivai sets out to reclaim her other half. As they fly through a new dimension on Undead King's Skull Dragon, they are joined by Vera, the Dragon Lord who also seeks to reclaim her stolen artifact. Although the three have their own goals, they continue on together for the time being, unsure of what lies ahead in this unfamiliar world. The Fillet Corporation's training facility was the perfect place for Roselia's anti-void weapon training, but dodging manospheres became increasingly difficult. Despite her exhaustion, she begged for more training. Regina cheered Roselia on, but she wasn't the real Leonis. Later, Sakuya and Ale ventured into Area 6, a dangerous underground world filled with smugglers, hooligans, and terrorists. They stumbled upon an underground arena for criminals, and Sakuya chose to fight. Her Raikirimaru cut off the werewolf's whiskers, shocking the crowd. Sakuya encounters a man with a flaming broadsword in a forbidden urban area. She challenges him and the other onlookers to come at her. Meanwhile, Elphine navigates the astral garden in a provocative avatar, seeking information with the help of Kate Sith, an artificial elemental she created. She hopes to use data from her brother's casino to penetrate the heavily guarded base of operations for the Fillet Company. Elphine, using the Eye of the Witch, scanned an information cube handed to her by a black cat held by Elphine, seeking information about her brother's connection to the Demon Sword Project and her father, who killed her mother. While scanning, she discovered that priests from the human church have been visiting a casino multiple times, indicating their involvement in the conspiracy. Elphine was unsure if she should involve her comrades in this dangerous battle, as she thought of a 10-year-old boy named Leo who might hold some answers for her. Just then, the fairy, Seraphim, appeared and spoke to Elphine about becoming a true witch by wielding the power of a demon sword, luring her with the desire of strength and surpassing her adversaries. Meanwhile, Finzel Fillet, Count Fillet's second son, was granted the privilege to meet with the goddess if he completes the pseudo-goddess creation, the D Project, and the Void Shift. The group discussed their plan to fulfill the will of the goddess for the world to be reborn in emptiness. Finzel Fillet chanted as he vanished into thin air, with the others questioning his usefulness. Despite concerns about a rogue swordmaster and an unknown element attempting to gather the Dark Lords, preparations for their goal were proceeding smoothly. Nephicus Voidlord had taken care of everything within the human church, pleasing Lady Iris, the leader of the Dark Lord's army's necromancy unit. She eagerly looked forward to humanity's downfall. On the third day of their stay in the capital, Shary, in her natural form, relaxed in the hotel bathroom. She enjoyed the rose-petal-filled tub and the respite from her duties. Shary couldn't help but think about Roselia's impressive potential and how Leonis had taken a liking to her. Suddenly, Roselia interrupted her thoughts by barging into the bathroom, surprising Shary. Apparently, she always bathed with Leonis and didn't expect Shary to be there. Roselia is shocked when she learns that her maid, Shary, is actually a girl. Despite her surprise, Roselia is amused by the revelation and comments on Shary's cuteness. Shary is worried about her lord's reaction and contemplates elimination, but her assassin training conflicts with her loyalty to her master. Meanwhile, Leonise, Rivais, and Vera journey to an unknown world, where they encounter an eerie red sky and a desolate landscape. The trio eventually stops to eat and rest, sharing Leonis's military rations from the realm of shadows. As they discuss their next moves, they struggle to find a lead on their target and ponder over the true purpose of the Azure Hold. Vera, the Dragon Lord, was surprised to learn that the Azure Hold could traverse dimensions. The great dragons who discovered it generations ago had only realized that the hold was capable of flight. It contained ancient mechanisms that even dragons couldn't comprehend, including a device called the Almagest, which recorded the movements of the stars. Leonis believed that the man behind the Azure Hold's original purpose was Azrael, the devil of the underworld, who had possessed Duke Crystalia, Roselia's father. Duke Crystalia had been investigating the Dark Lords and had deciphered part of the ancient text. Leonis and Vera decided to capture Azrael and find out his goals. Meanwhile, Shary helps Roselia improve her mana control by teaching her how to draw out the true power of the True Ancestor's dress, despite the risk of depleting all her mana. Roselia was pushed to her limits during training, but her mentor Shary encouraged her to keep pushing. They were at the Saint Illuminus Monastery, a holy swordsman training school. Meanwhile, a group of elite students who would participate in the Holy Sword Dance Festival were devoid of any excitement. They were merely puppets in the eyes of Iris Void Priestess, who had just turned a petite girl into a vampire. Iris was pleased with her meal and transformed into the girl. Leonis awakens from a dream hearing a voice he recognizes as Rose's. Rivai and Vera watch him sleep until they realize the demon sword, Deinslav, is resonating with something. Leonis hears Rose's voice coming from a mountain range, and they head towards it, discovering a dead forest with ruins of Ironblood Castle. Leonis explores the castle with Vera and Rivais, discovering it has been sealed with powerful magic. Vera gets impatient and uses Dragon Lord Slash to open the seal. The giant barricade was destroyed, revealing a black crystal pyramid. The Dark Lords were surprised to find a goddess temple, which the armies used to receive prophecies. When Leonis touched the surface, a voice spoke to him, seemingly belonging to Rosalia, the deceased goddess. The temple was destroyed by Vera, releasing a void miasma that marked Leonis with a strange hex. The trio decided to leave, taking a black fragment with them. However, they sensed a presence and noticed Ironblood Castle being destroyed. The site of Ironblood Castle was now nothing more than a crater after a single spear destroyed the area, with the 3 Dark Lords standing nearby. Leonis, Vera, and Rivais were all shocked, with Leonis impressed by the spear of the gods and unsure if he could have blocked it had it hit directly. Looking to the sky revealed the Void King waiting for them, with the fallen hero and Void Lord Shardark Shin Ignis descending to begin a battle. The 3 Dark Lords stood no chance against Shardark, but they couldn't retreat either, even though fleeing was not beneath Leonis's honor. Vera tried to confront him, but even she was almost defeated. Meanwhile, the Swordmaster of the 6 heroes had changed drastically since his last confrontation with Leonis, having absorbed gods and demons and become a malformed monster. Leonis wishes he could use the demon sword, but he's unable to because of his oath with the goddess. He has other trump cards like his holy sword, but it consumes all his mana and stamina and can only be used in all-or-nothing situations. Leonis summons a bone sculpture made of 30 melt-tall pieces, and atop it he tries to use his holy sword again, but a strange pattern on his skin prevents him from doing so. With the help of his allies, they manage to damage the Void King, Shardark, but he continues to fight back. However, Leonis and his allies eventually trap Shardark in a powerful, advanced spell that forces him into eternal slumber. Shardark was held in place by an ice barrier, but his eye continued to glow. Leonis, with the help of Vera's mana, prepared to cast a high-level spell to strike down the Void King. The chant was long and painful, but Vera aided with her own mana. The Staff of Sealed Sins overflowed with magical power, signaling the impending attack. As the ice barrier shatters, the destructive spell, Meld Magnus, unleashes a destructive light, obliterating voids and wreaking havoc. Amongst the chaos, Leonis hears the Void Lord call his name before vanishing. The cracks multiply, threatening to swallow everything. With no other choice, Leonis and his companions enter a tier in space and find themselves in a forest. Unsure of where they are, they seek out a human city. Leonis feels compelled to return to his kingdom, but is wary of Azrael's plans. Meanwhile, Rosalia eagerly awaits Leo's return, but instead is greeted by her favorite maid, Regina, who informs her of a meeting. Rosalia prepared for the Holy Sword Dance Festival, while Shary and Lord Blackers observed the sunset on the rooftop. Shary prayed for Leonis's safe return as he battled the Lord of the Seas. If Leonis couldn't attend, Shary would be his body double. She had already studied the rules and was confident she could win without drawing too much attention to Leonis. Shary was wary of the Voids and other past officers of the Dark Lord's armies who may try to interfere with the festival. She clutched a ring given to her by Leonis that could summon the strongest being in the Dark Lord's armies. With training complete, the festival had arrived. The 18th platoon arrived at the Holy Sword Dance Festival, held in the 8th Assault Garden, still under construction. Despite being a smaller area than the 7th Assault Garden, it boasted cutting-edge mana furnaces for high mobility. A designated starting spot was given to each unit, with core flags to steal for points. The shrinking game area would force conflict even if a team tried to be elusive. Meanwhile, Arle and Tessera were in the stadium as spectators, where they saw Excalibur Academy's special entry squad being introduced. A black hound named Fluffy Maru, whom Tessera knew, joined them. However, Arle couldn't shake off the nagging feeling of the hound's resemblance to the Black Wolf Emperor, the fearsome companion of the Undead King. Arle overhears some girls discussing a popular boy from Excalibur Academy, Leo. She envies Tessera for being in love, as she herself has never experienced romance. The 8th Platoon of Excalibur Academy's Assault Garden prepares for the Holy Sword Dance Festival, strategizing for their underground location. They must be cautious of the 4th Assault Garden's Academia unit, led by Count Dynefraud Fillet. The members of the 18th Platoon manifest their holy swords, including a replica of the Staff of Sealed Sins, registered as Leonis. Meanwhile, Chartres Ray Oltrees of Elysian Academy destroys a building to demonstrate her power and sets her sights on the leader of the 18th Platoon, Roselia Crystalia. Roselia and her group race through the underground tunnel, their movements guided by Eye of the Witch Orbs. Elphine warned the group of a core flag reaction nearby, and they searched for a way to reach it. They found an elevator, but as they approached it, a void simulator emerged, launching a preemptive attack. The group discovered the enemy Holy Swordsmen had set a trap and were able to dodge some attacks, but were ensnared by living nets. Despite this, Roselia managed to evade the chain Holy Sword of Kaiser Bufalop, the ace attacker of the military instruction school. Their battle continued as Roselia fiercely guarded the blood sword, refusing to let go. Kaiser attacks Roselia in an intense battle, causing her to fall back defensively. As he continues to wreak havoc, Roselia charges towards him, but is caught in a net thrown by a boy hiding in a duct. Kaiser takes advantage of the situation and throws the crushfires at Roselia, sending her flying. However, she discovers that she had been wearing shadow shackles, making her movements heavy. After removing them, Roselia surprises Kaiser with a swift attack, defeating him and earning a point for her team. Meanwhile, Iris Void Priestess and her companions plan to perform the Void Shift ritual using a trapezohedron. The Voids were a threat to humanity, driving it to the brink of extinction. The trapezohedron floated in the sky. The St. Illuminus Monastery's 4th choir aimed to bring the Void world forth with their sacrifice. Meanwhile, the Holy Swordsmen of Excalibur Academy lay defeated by Academia's 5th Platoon and their demon swords. But amidst the chaos, a mysterious blue-haired girl, Sakuya Sieglinde, arrived to confront the demon swordsman. With the mystic eye of time given to her by a Dark Lord, she revealed herself as a hunter of demon swords. What could her arrival mean for the fight against the Voids and the trapezohedron? The fate of Camelot hangs in the balance. Elphine tries to contact Sakuya, but can't reach her. The team finds the first core flag and knows they must protect it. They encounter void simulators and fall back to a larger area to fight them off. Meanwhile, Sakuya uses her holy sword and mystic eye to defeat demon swordsmen. She witnesses a fissure in the sky similar to one that appeared 9 years ago and gives chase to the monsters heading towards the central garden. Roselia and Regina find themselves in trouble when they realize a powerful enemy unit is approaching. As they attempt to flee undetected, a warehouse is suddenly destroyed, and they're faced with the 3rd princess of the human integrated empire, Chartres Ray Oltrees. Chartres has been baiting Roselia out of hiding for a personal issue. The two engage in battle, with Roselia using her unique blend of sword techniques and kicks to fight Chartres. Despite Chartres' incredible holy sword, Roselia's persistence and creativity make it a close battle. However, Chartres manages to dodge Roselia's full-force attack. The competition between the two is fierce. Chartres admires the Ragnarnova and challenges Roselia to a battle to judge her soul's quality. Using the Ragnar Shadow, Chartres shatters her own sword and attacks Roselia with deadly precision. However, Regina covers Roselia with covering fire, and Roselia jumps away to evade. As the battle continues, Roselia realizes she needs to settle it while she still has mana and uses her Bloody Petal Spiral attack. Chartres attempts to counter with the Ragnar Nova, but Regina surprises her with the Drag Howl. Chartres falls into the underground passages, bombs explode, and Roselia defeats her. However, both women stop as a holy swordsman alarm sounds, signaling a large-scale void incursion caused by Leonis's skull dragon, who heads towards the Holy Sword Dance Festival. The event is soon to begin, but Leonis and the dragon finally find the city they're looking for. Roselia and Chartres were interrupted during their match by a void attack alarm. A massive crack in the sky appeared, and Chartres declared an emergency. They were under her command and had to leave to defend the civilians in the capital. They had a difficult journey, encountering voids everywhere. Roselia, Regina, and Chartres met a group of holy swordsmen under attack and saved them. Suddenly, the girl they had saved revealed herself to be the ninth apostle, Iris Void Priestess, and attacked them. Chartres was pierced, and Roselia stayed to fight while Regina took the princess to safety. Shary, in the true ancestor's dress, fought the insect-like voids that were emerging from the tier. Shary is overwhelmed by the approaching monsters, and with the added problem of locating Leonis's minion, the situation seems hopeless. Suddenly, a gigantic void emerges from a tier in the sky. Shary contacts Leonis for aid, and is authorized to unleash the Everdark Queen. Roselia unleashes the true ancestor's dress's power and engages in a battle with Iris Void Priestess. Iris reveals the void monsters are just the vanguard, and the world is being overwritten by the great goddess's world of emptiness. Meanwhile, Regina administers medical aid to Chartres. The situation is dire as the capital is on the brink of falling to the massive void arms. Regina sent out an emergency call, but due to the stampede, it was doubtful it would be received. Chartres, the princess, questioned the infiltrators from the anti-imperial organization and wondered if they were connected to the apocalyptic cult. Regina tried to comfort her and reminded her of her important role as a holy swordsman. Suddenly, voids appeared and threatened the princess's safety, but Regina stood by her side. Despite her determination, Regina knew she couldn't take on this many foes alone. As the voids closed in, lightning flashed and a familiar face appeared to lend a hand. It was Sakuya, the Everdark Queen, a devil who reigned over the afterlife, and the Undead King's third minion, was sealed in the realm shadows. She was Leonis's ultimate weapon, a match for even a Dark Lord, but calling upon her was strictly a last resort because she was an uncontrollable element. With the assassin maid Shary's help, the Everdark Queen was released from her seal, taking over Shary's body as her container. Meanwhile, Roselia, a member of the 18th platoon, was trapped and drained of mana by the Spider Queen, Iris. But Roselia discovered a new power within the true ancestor's dress that Leonis had given her and used it to break free. As Roselia faced off against Iris, the two engaged in a spell battle, with Roselia launching a barrage of lesser spells, while Iris wielded a more advanced spell. In the end, Roselia managed to hold her own by using a vast amount of newfound mana to bombard Iris with multiple Defaga spells. The Vrazfaga's force exploded and caught the skeleton soldiers and shadow wolves in its wake. Roselia continued to chant, compressing her power and amplifying her spells. But her true ancestor's dress had a flaw. It put a formidable strain on her body. Ignoring the pain, she faced the Iris Void Priestess, who sacrificed her spider legs for a fiery incantation. The sphere that emerged was massive and impossible to block. Roselia cast her spells in quick succession, but the priestess mocked her attempts. Roselia's magic was useless against the Crimson Fireball, but unexpectedly, the boy she had always hoped to see appeared and rescued her with ease. "I'm sorry I kept you waiting, Miss Celia," he said, as he held her in his arms.